so happy to have you here with me today. Thank you so much for clicking on this video. As you've probably seen from the title, we're making some Dollar Tree meals today. I have 4 of them for you, so let's get right into this. For this recipe, the jambalaya, we will be using 1 pack of the John Morel smoked sausage. There's 7 ounces in there. We'll be using the seasoning blend. I have about half a bag there, and that's what I'm going to use. You'll need 1 cup of frozen okra, and then this can of diced tomatoes. If they have crushed tomatoes, that'll work just fine as well. This creole seasoning, 2 cans of chicken, some chicken bouillon, and some rice. Additionally, we'll be using some pantry spices and some oil. Salt, pepper, garlic powder, onion powder. To this pan, I'm going to heat up some of the oil and place in the half bag of the seasoning blend that I got, and I'm going to cook that up a little bit. I want to mention I like using the seasoning blend for jambalaya because it has celery in it versus the onion and bell pepper blend does not, but this does. Look at this. This is so funny. I've never opened up the okra from Dollar Tree. They're so long. They're kept quite large. But I just wanted to let you know that I have measured out some seasonings. A tablespoon, let me read. What was it? Yes, 1.5 tablespoons of the Cajun seasoning, or I'm sorry, Creole seasoning. And then in this little bowl, I have a teaspoon of salt, garlic powder, onion powder, and half a teaspoon of black pepper. And I'm going to now slice the sausage up, and we're going to get the sausage, the chicken, which I've also prepared. I guess I can prepare it as in I drained and rinsed it. You see, I've mentioned before, I had a viewer tell me that helps with the flavor of the chicken because it's not too great out of the can, and it's worked really well for us. I'm going to go ahead and cook this up until the sausage and the chicken get a little bit of color on them. And then I'll add in the broth and the rice. The okra doesn't go in until the end. Alright, I put my tomatoes in this measuring cup. I'm going to immersion blend it a little bit so that we don't have chunks. That's just my preference. If you like chunks, go with that. I really think I would prefer crushed, so just, I don't even know if you can hear me talk. But now I've turned the diced tomatoes into crushed tomatoes. But if you would prefer to leave them diced, leave them diced. Alright, and we're turned back around to our pan here. And now we're going to add in the next ingredients, which will be 3/4 cup of rice. If you want to use more rice to stretch it further, you can. You just need to make up for it with broth or water. And now I'm going to add that can of the tomatoes that I immersion blended. Next, I am adding 2 cups of water. And I'm going to start with 1 packet of this chicken bouillon. I wasn't having shaky hands. I was just getting ready to shake it. Okay, everything is mixed up. The only other thing we'll be adding near the end will be the okra. You absolutely don't need 2 packets of that bouillon, just the 1. I'm going to cover this and we're going to let it come to a boil and then turn it down so that it can simmer for about 20 minutes. Alright, so as this was cooking, it sounded to me like it was running out of water, so I did end up adding more water in it. So I ended up cooking this with a total of 3 cups of water, which I will, when I write the recipes in the description box, it will say 3 cups of water, even though initially I told you 2 cups. But it is now time to add the okra in. I was thinking when I initially was putting this together, it was going to be 2 to 3 servings, but this filled up my whole pot. And generally, or large pan, generally if I make something in this pan, it is usually about 4 to 5 servings. So this makes quite a bit of food. But anyway, I now have the okra in there, and I'm going to I'm going to cover that and let that go on a low setting. I have it at 2.8 right now. All right, I ended up leaving it in there for 10 minutes. And also I want to mention, I understand and I realize this isn't quite authentic, but for Dollar Tree ingredients, I think this is turning out pretty good. So we're going to give the jambalaya a try. Oh my gosh. That was so hot. Temperature hot. I'm going to let this bite cool down a little bit before I try again, and then I'll be back. All right, I'm back. It's cooled down enough now. I can give it a try. Well, from that first bite that I took, it is very flavorful. There's no shortage of punch in your face flavors. Okay, so I got a little bit of everything, I think, including the okra and the sausage. It's so good. I love it. I do. I love it. I think this one is a success, and I would absolutely make it again. For this dish, I will be using some margarine, some cheddar cheese that I will shred up, and this 10-ounce package of bologna, some milk, and this package of the original mashed potatoes. When I went to my store, they did not have any of the ones that already had the flavorings in, which would have been convenient because those are just add water, and we wouldn't have even needed the milk or the margarine, but that's okay. We would have needed 2 of those, but now just 1 of those with some milk and margarine. Here are some pantry spices that I'll be using: salt, pepper, garlic powder, onion powder, and chives. If I haven't specified before, the seasonings I use in the Dollar Tree meals were also purchased at Dollar Tree. So as you can see here, what I'm doing is I'm removing the red ring around these bologna slices, and then I am notching them so that when they cook flat and not bubble up. I melted some of the margarine here, and now we're gonna fry up the bologna. Okay, here we have our pot that we're gonna make our instant mashed potatoes. I'm going to put in 1/4 cup of the margarine and 2 2/3 cup of water and a shake of salt. It says to put in a whole teaspoon of salt, but this margarine's pretty salty. I don't know if y'all have tasted it, so I am not going to be putting in a teaspoon of salt. All right, I have the water in there, and I have the butter in there. I'm going to add a small amount of garlic powder. I know I said I was following the directions, but I've decided to add a few things. I'm going to add in a little bit of chives. I don't think I need to add them in now, but I'm going to go ahead and add them in now, and then I'm going to add more later. I would say it's probably about 1/4 of a teaspoon, and about the same with the pepper, about 1/4. Then the directions on the back of the package say let that come to a boil, and then move it off the water, or off the heat, and add the milk. So that's what we're doing. It has come to a boil, so now we're going to add 1 1/3 cup of milk and the entire contents of the pouch. I'm adding in another half teaspoon of salt. So 3/4 teaspoon of salt. It apparently does need the salt in it. That is better. All right, let's get to the layering. Here is our casserole. I'm going to cover it with a little bit of the margarine. And now we're going to put half the bologna down in the bottom. And I've cut all the bologna into 1/4 size pieces. And if y'all remember, we need 2.5. So let's see how much that actually covers. I should say 2.5 whole ones. So 10 of these. Okay, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to put a little more on this bottom layer so we have a base, and then it'll be a little bit less and then in the next layer. Okay, and now we're going to put about half the potatoes on there. And then half the cheese. Oh, I shredded both of those little blocks of cheese. And now I repeat those layers with the rest of the ingredients. I place this on a low rack in my oven, uncovered, for about 30 minutes at 350 degrees. I'm adding a little bit of chives on top. After 30 minutes, here is our potato bologna casserole. I'm going to pull out my serving and then I'll give it a try. All right, I'm going to try to get everything on there. Small bites, so I'm not like have a big mouthful. So bologna and the potato and the cheese. This is really good. I thought it was going to be dry because the potatoes look so dry, but I think the fat from the cheese and the fat from the bologna just blended right in with those potatoes, and everything together is just very delicious. This is good. Very good. I recommend this one as well. If you don't like super cheesy potatoes, then pull back a little bit on the cheese because they are very, I mean, I mixed it up and I don't know if you can tell, but they're really cheesy when they're mixed up. But yes, very cheesy. Cheesy, potatoey bologna. For this recipe, I'm going to be using a box of pasta, a can of tomato paste, 2 cans of chicken, a can of chicken Alfredo. I'm going to be using about half the package of this ground beef. There's a whole pound in there, so I'm going to be using about half. And some of this pepper stir fry, not the whole thing, probably about half of it or so. And then also from my Dollar Tree seasoning pantry, I will be using salt, pepper, chives, garlic powder, onion powder, and Italian seasoning. If you don't have chicken broth, but you do have either beef or veggie broth, that's perfectly fine to use as well. I'm just going to go ahead and go with the chicken. Here is half the package of the vegetables. I'm going to give it a rough chop and then I'm going to just cook it a little bit in my pan. The vegetables have a little bit of brown to them, so I'm going to go ahead and get the ground beef added to this. This is the half a pound of the ground beef. Alright, so here I have 2 cups of water that I boiled, and I'm going to be adding into it 1 packet of this, of the chicken broth. Yeah, bouillon. Bouillon. Chicken bouillon. Trying to pronounce things correctly. Give that a little stir. This is what I'm going to be using. Oh my, that's a lot of grease in that meat. This is what I'm going to be using instead of water. I'm going to use chicken broth. Let me show you all the grease in this. I might have to get some of that out. Doing a little paper towel trick. That frugal southern mama does. Actually didn't even know about this until I saw her do it. Okay, this is going to take more than one paper towel. So now I'm going to add the chicken to this. And just so you know, I have already drained and rinsed the chicken. Now I'm adding in the can of tomato paste along with the 2 cups of chicken broth. I'm going to add in about a teaspoon of garlic powder, a teaspoon of onion powder, and a tablespoon of Italian seasoning. I have a teaspoon, where's the camera? There we go. I have a teaspoon measuring spoon. That's why there was 3 of those scoops of the Italian seasoning put in. And then a few shakes of pepper and salt. Oh, just a little bit of salt. That came out fast. Okay, I'm going to let this simmer for about 10 minutes and then I'll give it a try. And then if we're ready, I will add in the Alfredo. I'm going to go ahead and cover it with this splatter screen. Okay, I just tasted the sauce and it tastes great like that. I think we're ready to add in the Alfredo sauce. I'm really zoomed in. Let me see if I can get a better angle. It was great before. All right, that's better. Just pour it in there. Well, hopefully it still tastes good now that I put that canned Alfredo sauce in there. The water's boiling for my noodles. I'm going to cook all of them. I think that's way too much for this, but we're going to cook all of them. Because I think one of my kiddos would probably prefer plain noodle anyway, not this mystery sauce. Even though I just tried it and it tastes good. Alright, I'm going to let this sauce simmer as the pasta is cooking. And then we'll put it all together. And if I add anything to this sauce, I will let you know. And it will only be, if I add, it'll be just the ingredients that I showed before. I won't pull anything else out of my Dollar Tree pantry. Back to the zoomed in version of our pasta sauce here. I am going to add some more of the Italian seasoning. And that will bring our total of the Italian seasoning to 2 tablespoons. That's really good. I'm just tasting it in my mouth right now. So I'm evaluating it. I was evaluating whether I wanted to add Parmesan to this in the sauce form, which you absolutely can, but I'm not going to. I'm just going to wait, and then if someone wants to add that, they can. All right, I'm going to cover this and just let it simmer while the pasta's cooking, and then we'll get it all together. All right, so there is the pasta all done. I put a little bit of oil in it so it wouldn't stick. And there is our sauce complete. And what I'm going to do, instead of mixing the whole thing together, I'm going to put some noodles and some sauce in this bowl for that and combine it. And then I will keep the rest of it separate. call that done and we're going to give it a try. Oh wait, nope. I'm going to add some of the Parmesan on it. All right, so we are now trying the pasta. I put a little bit on here because I do want to eat with my family more, but I do want to take a bite so we can try this. This is really good. I actually think it could use a little bit more sauce, but it's already so saucy, so I don't know if I should. But you know, you put as much as you want on it. I really love the combination of the red tomatoey meaty sauce with the combination of the Alfredo sauce. I've never really liked canned Alfredo sauce, but it's really pretty good when you mix it all together with some other stuff. You know, factor it up to your taste. All right, that is that one. It's great. All right, everybody, I know this looks daunting and there's a lot of stuff here, but we're making Loco Moco, and we're going to make a sauce that consists of a brown gravy with some umami flavors added into it. So it's not as daunting as it looks. Basically, our main items are these three. These items here are to make the gravy. And also, if you have a packet of the brown gravy from Dollar Tree, you can eliminate these right here. But I need to make the gravy and then we add the other things to it. But our main items that we will need are eggs. I'm going to use half this package of ground beef. The other half of the package, as you probably already know, is going to be used in the noodly dish that I'm working on as well, simultaneously in my home. But then you need the rice, because the rice is the base. It's rice and then gravy and then a patty and then a fried egg on top. 2 to 3 eggs, half a pound of ground beef, however much rice you want. Then we're going to make about we need 1.5 cups of beef broth, so I'm going to be making that. And we have soy sauce, Worcestershire sauce, ketchup, sugar, garlic powder, salt and pepper. All right, I'm going to get started by making some rice. 1 cup of dry rice and 2 cups of water. Make your rice according to the instructions on the back of your package or how you like to make your rice. As per usual, I wanted to mention that I have rice in bulk, and I'm going to go ahead and use that instead of opening the new package. But I still got the package. I just don't want to open a new one for a cup of rice for now. But I did want to be transparent with you all that I am using my bulk rice. In this bowl, I have the half pound of ground beef, and I have added 1 teaspoon of Worcestershire sauce to it, and half a teaspoon of garlic powder, and some salt and pepper, and I'm going to shape these into 3 equal patties. I'm probably not going to do it on camera because I burned myself yesterday when I was taking that potato bologna casserole out of the oven. I guess I could put a band-aid on it so it won't be so gross, but you know, it's clearly a burn. I don't know if it was seeable in the previous clip when I was showing y'all all the ingredients, but let me get this shaped into some patties. I melted 3 tablespoons of margarine. We're going to go ahead and make the gravy. I have boiled 1.5 cups of water, and to that I will be adding 1.5 teaspoons of the, there we go, the beef broth, or the beef bouillon. Give that a stir. If it's not beefy enough, we'll add more of that bouillon later. Okay, the margarine is melted. I'm going to add 1/4 cup, oh my goodness, there we go, 1/4 cup of flour, and that is going to be our thickener. We're making a roux, and we're gonna let that cook for a little bit to get the raw flour taste out of that. All right, I'm slowly stirring in the beef broth, which looks very light colored. I'm not sure why, but it does. But I'm stirring that in there. And I should turn the heat on. I had it on high and that was way too high. So now we're at a medium at 5.5 on mine. Okay, so we do not need to wait for this to boil to add our other ingredients, which are 1 tablespoon of soy sauce and 1 teaspoon of Worcestershire sauce. That's what I have in this bowl. And now we have 2 teaspoons of ketchup. Oh my goodness. I don't know why I thought this would be great in a tiny little bowl. Okay. There. Now we need a shake of salt and a shake of pepper, half a teaspoon of garlic powder, and 2 teaspoons of sugar. This isn't a tablespoon measuring spoon, so I estimate this to be about 2 teaspoons. All right, so traditionally the gravy is much darker, but the Dollar Tree beef bouillon powdery stuff is very light in color. So this is what it is. All right, we're gonna let that come to a boil, and it is already super thick. I'm very happy with that. I was a little worried it wouldn't thicken, but it did. Next, we're gonna cook up these patties and then the eggs. And one of my kids won't eat an egg, and one of my kids wants a scrambled egg. Before we get started on those beef patties, I just tested this, and in no way, shape, or form do I think it's beefy enough. So I am adding the extra half teaspoon of the bouillon powder, which brings our total up to 2 teaspoons of the bouillon powder. All right, I'm gonna get one of these eggs cooking. It might be a little too hot. So I believe for the pictures I've seen for this, traditionally I'm adding some salt and pepper. They're sunny side up fried egg, but I think I'm going to go with over medium, because if you've been watching my channel, you know that's what I prefer. Just because I feel like, sorry, sticking. I used oil. I should have used the margarine. Anyway, just because I want to get the white cooked all the way. Oh my goodness, what a mess. You guys, I don't even know if I'm going to leave this in here. This pan. I think I'll get another pan for the other egg. Yeah, I'm going to get another pan. Here we go again. Oh my, and this one, the yolk is broken. You guys, I'm getting another egg out. All right, I think I got one of the eggs all right. So we're just going to plate this. Okay, to make this Loco Moco, first we're going to put down some rice. And then some gravy. My gravy spoon has a little bit of rice on it. That's okay. Oh, let's try to center it a little bit better. There we go. So like I said, remember this gravy is not super dark, and traditionally it is much darker. it's very dark. So this is a very pale colored gravy here. And then we need to add one of our beef patties. And now our fried egg. And there we have it. I'm going to try a bite of everything on here. Ground beef, gravy, rice, egg, the runny part of the egg, everything. I may have to edit this. That's a really good combination. Savory, sweet, all mixed together. I have now combined everything. It's a little bit messy looking, but it tastes really good. If you're at Dollar Tree and you can get a hold of that brown gravy, the beef gravy, get that instead of trying to make it with the powdery bouillon. I think it will be richer and it would taste better with this. It's good. It's good as it is, but I definitely would recommend getting the packet of gravy and then just adding the flavors to it, the extra flavors to it. All right, so I guess that's it. All right, that's it for today. Thank you all for joining me. I will see you in the next one. I hope you liked this video. If you did, please give me a like. And if you want to see more, I hope you subscribe so you can see when I put more out. All right, I'm gonna go eat dinner with the family.